Good afternoon. Happy Aloha Friday, everyone. It's Devin Nekoba. I am your host for MVT Live. It's nice to be with you, and also nice to introduce Mr. Kip Wilborn, Executive Director of Manoa Valley Theater. Hello, sir.
How's everybody doing? How's everybody going? Man, I'm mixing my phrases here.
Doing whatever.
It's not even Pauhana yet, so you know.
Exactly.
We'll take care of that later.
Which may be the reason why there's a problem there. I don't know. Maybe we need to get you started.
You have a point. Yeah. You have a good point. All right.
So what's been going on, Kip?
It's been quite a week, hasn't it? I think it's been quite a week for everybody. You know, we have a new mayor, and that's Mr. Blanchardi, who was with us last week. And then we have, who knows? We'll see. That's all we can do.
We're still not really sure, but it's okay. As long as they get it right, that's the important part. So
that's right. And wow, what a great turnout voter-wise. I mean, we really and people spoke, and that's what it's about. That's been a busy week at the theater. We're working really hard getting ready for the Manoa Marquee Virtually Yours, which takes place on November 20th. At 6 p.m. Join us for the live stream. To register for that live stream, you can go to manoamarquee.swell.gives, or you can go to our website and just click on Manoa Marquee Virtually Yours. We got quite a lineup, man. It's great people on this. We're going to have Kyoki Kerr and Jody Leong are going to be our MCs, and then we're honoring Dot Mason and Mark Mugiishi for their contributions to the arts. You know, Dr. Mugiishi, he was part of the Hui that originally created Allegiance, and got it to Broadway and then back here and
helped you get it here. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then Dot Mason, I mean, in the George Mason Fund, they have supported the arts for so long. So we're giving Dot a Lifetime Achievement Award. So it's really great. And let me see. Who else is going to be with us that night? Amy Hanaya Li'i.
Nice.
Yeah, not too shabby, huh? And Star Kalahiki and the Lily Ooh Project. So they've been looking at the Queen's music and recording her music. And then we're going to have cast members from Once.
Oh, cool.
And from Desperate Measures. Ooh. Listen, it's going to be super, super fun. And we're going to have a special guest who is going to do something that you rarely see him do. Jake Shimabukuro is coming by. And I don't know. I've never heard him.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I get the feeling there's going to be an ukulele involved somewhere.
Well, definitely an ukulele involved, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But there's more involved than just that.
Oh.
So, yeah. All right. So looking forward to it. Please go and register. And when you register, you have an opportunity to give. And so please make a donation. It can be of any amount. And be sure that you make the donation so that it goes to my fundraising team. My team. Okay.
I was worried. You needed to finish off that my part. That's
right. We're having a little friendly competition. And so check it out. And I hope you'll all join us. It's going to be a great, fun evening. So, all right.
It sounds like it's going to be a wonderful evening filled with all kinds of really cool stuff. And I can't wait to see it myself. Yeah, it's going to be neat.
For sure. So, 6 p.m., November 20th. That's 2 weeks from tonight.
All right. He looks so relaxed for a guy that's got a big, huge show coming up on the 20th, don't you think?
Don't talk to me. Don't. You know, I was doing okay until you brought it up again. Right?
Sorry. All right. Well, we're going to give Kip a chance to get used to the fact that this is coming up in 2 weeks. And thank you, Kip. Appreciate the time. We're going to have him back in a little bit. Right now, though, I would like to introduce someone who is backed by popular demand. He's one of the founders of Hawaii Shakespeare Festival. And among the Shakespearean plays he's directed since 1989 are Measure for Measure, Macbeth, which I was in. Don't worry, I had a really small part. Comedy of Errors twice, Hamlet twice, Henry IV Part 1, All's Well That Ends Well, The Winter's Tale, Much Ado About Nothing, Pericles. It's a whole bunch. It's a really long list. He is also active in the local improvised theater scene with On the Spot. He's toured in Chicago, Seattle, London. He's got, of course, Oil in the Alley, which is his great rock group. With which he's toured to Seattle, New York City, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles. He's also directed several shows at Kumukuhua. Just a great guy all around. He also teaches at Mid-Pacific. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Kevin Doyle. What's up? How you doing, buddy?
How are you doing?
Did I fail? And I apologize. I failed to mention he also directed MVT's 29 production of Tony and Tina's Wedding, which I saw and was accosted in, and it was awesome. I loved it. It was great, man.
I think it sounded like you said their 29th production of Tony and Tina's Wedding, and I was going to say this feels like I know I've always done the show that many times, but you know, it was good fun. It was really good fun working with that cast and working with MVT on that.
Well, also too, I mean, you had to teach people how to do improv, because improv is a skill. It's not something that you just go, hey, let's go get up on there and improv. So
I mean, there's tools that make it easier. Ultimately, you know, I'm like, this is like Ratatouille. I believe everyone can improvise, but there are some skills that make it easier. But you know, it's like basketball. You can give someone a basketball and they can fool around and figure out eventually how to get in the hooper and everything. But if you have some training and and a coach and some practice, you can get a lot better at it a lot faster.
It's amazing how that happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the last time you were here, I wasn't. So this for me is my first time. So be gentle. Okay. I wanted to ask you about some of the digital productions you've been working on, because, you know, I mean, things have changed with the advent of the pandemic and stuff. And I know you're pretty good about pivoting because, you know, you're an improv guy. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what you've been up to?
Well, we in the Shakespeare Festival jumped right on the idea of going online. So this summer, all of our productions for HSF were in a Zoom environment, and each was a little bit more advanced than the previous one, because everyone in the world is doing this. Theater artists all over the world are trying to figure out how to navigate doing shows in an online environment. So it's been really fascinating, just between August when I did As You Like It in Zoom, and now working on Aloha Attire for Kumakua Theater, how much we've already learned, and how much we're already figuring out about how to do this better. So the cool thing about this production for me is the last one was just live in Zoom. We didn't do anything fancy with it. It was just in Zoom. This one is using a program called OBS, and you can see an example of what it does here. We have actors who have green screens set up in their houses, and it allows our technical wizard, Veronica Vera, to put them together in the same screen. So we approached that in a bunch of different ways. So, here's, a way that we put two of the guys together. You're able to create frames so that you can make it look like, in this case, one actress is looking in the mirror and the other is standing by the mirror, so they can interact with each other. Or something like this, where you can just drop the boxes into the room with them. There's a whole lot of variety, but all of them are in front of green screens. So they all have, we also then have the ability to drop backgrounds and drop them into different locations, which is completely different from what, like I said, from what I did with As You Like It this summer. And we're still in the silent movie phase of this technology. Yeah. Where we are right now, we're less than a year into this international experiment in creating socially distanced online theater. And it's so exciting to see how every show is an advance on the previous show. So yeah, that's been really cool. And that's been one of the silver linings of this crazy last couple of months. So
see, this is how I know you're an improv master, because most people would go, oh my, how are we going to do this? And you go, this is so great. We can put people here and put people there. You know what I mean? Because I wonder how you wrap your head around it, because, trying to direct people on stage is hard enough. But then having to direct them and say, okay, you're on a green screen, but it's going to look like this. Yeah. And we're going to have you move here. And this is where you're going to be. I mean, it's a whole different mind thing.
Yeah. And it's not quite like film, because you have the non-moving camera, right? So you don't have the film language, you don't have the tracking shots, or the ability to close up and focus in, or even a whole lot of ability to have much more than close up and medium close up. So you lose a lot of the language you would normally use in film at the moment. But who knows what it's going to be like in 6 months? Yeah. Jason Quinn, Jason and I were talking about, he's talking about, you can install like a little train track in your house, and the camera can follow you as you walk through your hallway, and just put a rack of lights on your ceiling. And so, smarter minds than mine are already focused on how to really do some really cool things with this. But yeah,
and you told Jason to do this first at his house, right? Not to do it at your house. Okay, just making sure.
I think he's down with it, though. That's the thing with him. Right? He's awesome. But I guess the thing is that I told this story before, but the first show we did, when I was working on As You Like It, it took me 5 weeks to realize that I didn't know how to direct an entrance. Yeah. Wow. There was so much stuff that I took for granted. Like, I've been directing 30 years. I'm just going to walk in and own this. It's like, no, man, it's directing 101 all over again. It was, and, I was working with Tony and Kat, who are the other two directors in the Shakespeare Festival. And I learned so much from them, and so much from this gentleman named Tony Torn, who was doing a lot of Zoom theater and is still doing a lot of Zoom theater, who very graciously agreed to talk to me about how to work in the environment. And so, I still feel like I'm directing 101 here, but it's good to be humbled every now and then.
I thought that's why we get married. We get married for that.
Oh yeah. That's humbling every point. And that's
It's okay. It's preparing you. It's preparing you for this moment. That's good. That's good. All right, cool. Hey, I have so much more to ask you, but
Sure.
I need to send you away for just a little bit because we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have our go, and then we're going to talk to Lorena, and then we're going to bring you both back on for specific reasons because you're both working on a certain play, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Is that cool?
Awesome. Totally cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so
Shoots,
much.
brother. We will see you in just a little bit. Okay. All right. Awesome. Next, our guest is Lorena Donalds O'Malley. She's a professor of theater at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, where she serves as director of graduate studies in theater and teaches in the areas of theater history, research, and directing. I know it sounds like she is the whole entire department. She's the author of the dramatic works of Catherine the Great, theater and politics in the 18th century Russia, and has published in comparative drama, text and presentation, and theater history studies on the topic of African-American pageant drama. Her recent directing credits include Indecent, also June is the First Fall at Kumukuhua Theater, and Spitfire Grill at Kennedy Theater. Please, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Lorena Donalds O'Malley.
Hi.
Hello, Miss Lorena. How are you?
I'm good. I want to second everything our Kevin just said.
Well, okay. So I was a return guest for yourself. This is your first time with us, so I want to make sure people understand like where you come from and all of that stuff. So can we get into a little bit of that? Because if people didn't know you, they just say all she does is live at University of Hawaii Theater Department.
Right. Well, I know that you wanted to ask me a little bit about my hometown, which is New Orleans, and I have a beautiful painting of it, of the city above me here, done by a friend of mine. So yes, that's my hometown, and my dad was a painter and a photographer there. So if you did visit the city anytime between 1946 and when he passed away in 2009, he had the same gallery for all of those decades between St. Louis Cathedral and Pat O'Brien's Bar right there.
Nice.
So that was where I grew up, in that wonderful and stimulating environment.
I know. So you kind of didn't have a choice. You were going to get into the arts then.
Yeah. My mother was a big theater goer, so we went to things constantly. My dad, not so much. He preferred to stay in his shop and see the theater of people passing by and the customers. But but she got me into it, and then I was lucky enough. I want to do a shout out to my theater teacher in high school, Edna Mae Mock, because she allowed me to direct as early as sophomore year in high school. So that was my debut as a director, and I've enjoyed doing it ever since in various types of stages, including the remote stage.
So what is the thing about directing that that you like so much? I mean, what is it that speaks to you?
Yeah, I do think part of it comes from my father's work. He was really big into composition, so that's something that intrigues me, like the visual aspect of directing. But he would never do a painting or a photograph without titling it, which is the storytelling part of it. So I think all of that's sort of coming together in me. And then my mother was an accountant, so I'm very organized.
Oh, wow, that's cool. You don't normally see that combination in the arts. That's actually pretty impressive, right?
The whole story there.
So how were we lucky enough to get you here?
Yeah. Well, I went to graduate school at the University of Texas at Austin and studied under the very remarkable Oscar Brockett, another teacher. Shout out to him as my PhD advisor. He's a very famous theater historian. And then I was looking for a job, and my husband, Sean, we both became doctors at the same time, me in theater, he in chemistry. And so we were looking around for jobs, and I got it first, and he agreed to move to Hawaii with me.
Well, shucks. I'm sure that was a really tough sell, right?
Yeah, so I've been at UH Manoa since 1991 when I did get that job, and had a student in one of my first classes named R. Kevin Doyle. So we have known each other for a very long time.
And of course, your husband also works with R in a lot of in Orcan in the Alley and all of these different stuff. And I mean, right. What is it like having to live with somebody who does who pulls all these things out of the air and out of their head all the time.
It's delightful, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just never boring around here. And he and Kevin have been creating some videos lately, and so my daughters and me, we have to hand him things and adjust his life and help him with his hair. Yeah.
Also, I kind of wanted to ask you because I'm worried. That the UH program and the UH system is talking about getting rid of theater. I mean, help me make the point. What are the things we're going to tell people? Yeah, please.
I think already, just as soon as the word got out that there were some proposed cuts to some of our degrees and to our dance program, as soon as the word got out, we were flooded. I mean, I'm talking thousands of letters coming in from community, from alumni. And so I think it made an immediate point to our Board of Regents, to our president, to the upper administration, how valued the arts are and how valued our department and our community college theater and arts and dance programs are. So I think we're going to be okay. But, everyone has to kind of keep making that point, what if you sort of get to bean counting too much and say, what is the exact value of the arts? Sometimes those points are difficult to make, but I think everyone realizes ultimately the value for our islands of the arts. So I think we're going to be okay, but we got to kind of keep making that point.
Do you just tell them, okay, Netflix,
right.
Hulu? Yeah. Magnum PI shooting, that's all right over there. Just letting you know, because a lot of us received training at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. I mean, I didn't actually go to University of Hawaii at Manoa, but Tammy Montgomery got me my start. A lot of us all really depended on the University of Hawaii at Manoa, not just for the entertainment factor, but also because it allows it allows actors, directors, and all that a place to grow this thing that we're learning, where it's not it's not like, oh my God, we're gonna lose $10 million because we're doing this play. No, it's okay. Just do it in the Black Box Theater over at Kennedy. You're good, and having that ability is awesome, is amazing. Yeah. So, okay, so Lorena. I'm gonna sit with this because we're gonna have to have you back, because now I gotta bring our Kevin back, because we're gonna get three of us together, and we're gonna talk about this project that you guys are doing together for the University of Hawaii. There they are. Okay, so you are both directing shows that are written by the great Lee CATALUNA, and they're specifically for the digital platform. In fact, they share some characters, which is why we thought it'd be kind of cool to have the two of you on together. So how did this work? Did you guys have to work together? Did you sit down and go, okay, I'm going to do this and you're going to do this? How did that go?
No, it was so random.
Oh, really?
I had a different show in mind to do, which was not possible to be done remotely. So then I started looking at scripts, and really one of my first thoughts was, one of my favorite plays I've ever seen by Lee CATALUNA is her play Flowers of Hawaii. It was done by Kumukuhua a few years back, and I just thought it was terrific, and thought, oh, it's almost all two character scenes. I can immediately start to see how you could do that in this digital platform. So, and it's scheduled in November, and we pitched it with Lee, and then at one point she said, oh, by the way, Kumuku is also doing a play of mine in November. Is that okay? And I said, that is amazing. We're going to have the CATALUNA Fest. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. And you're seeing some images. We have a very talented MFA graduate student in costuming. Her name is Isabella Dixon, and she's created these renderings that you're seeing, these drawings for the various costumes. It's a 15-character play, and there are actually, each character is seen in multiple scenes. So she is creating many, many, many costumes for us. But the nice part is she has not had to create any shoe designs.
I didn't even think about that. That's awesome. That is awesome. One less thing to have to worry about. So, for people who are unfamiliar with the show, can you give them a little bit of a teaser about what they're going to see?
So it's set in present day, and it's a dysfunctional family here in Hawaii. We've decided to set the play on Kauai, although Lee doesn't specifically specify. And it's all these interactions between various family members, all in our play centering around the grandmother character, Mary V, and different generations. Most of them are the grandkids and all of the ways that they interact, and they all are very annoyed at each other for all of their foibles, their interactions, their past grievances, and so all of that comes to bear in the play, and it relates a little differently to the play our
I know. Okay. Look at you guys just naturally leading into each other. It's so amazing.
So Aloha Attire came about in a strange way. Before COVID times, Kumu was looking for playwrights for their 50th season, and the conceit was that each play was going to be set in a different decade that Kumu has been around. So they just did Lovey Lee that was set in the 70s, and Lee wrote a play called Kimo the Waiter that was a smaller cast play that was set in the 80s. She was, she and I are both 80s kids, so that was so hooray for that. But when it came time to move things online, she felt like, well, this play isn't going to quite work in that environment. So she decided she was going to try to write something else. So maybe in August, she started seriously writing this, and it turned out to be a prequel to Flowers of Hawaii. So it's a lot of three of the characters are the same characters, but a lot of them are still grandchildren and nieces, and they're all still related to Grandma. Mary V.
Are they all still angry with each other too? Is that how
we discover that some of them are angry with each other? But I think this one is also a little bit. Aloha Attire is also a bit about how we discover our own identities, and partly how we discover our own identities through clothing, but not just through clothing, through just discovering who we are. So it's a very funny play, despite what I just presented as a very serious theme. But it's a funny play. There's moving parts. There's upsetting parts. It's great. It's she's. I've worked with her a bunch over the last when I wasn't working on plays by that lesser playwright William Shakespeare. I've worked on 4 or 5 of these plays, and she's been a fantastic writer right from the beginning, and she has just gotten better and better and better with time. And I agree with Lorena. Flowers of Hawaii is just about my favorite script by Lee, and I think Aloha Attire comes very, very close to it in terms of just overall quality. I mean, they're 2 fantastic plays. I'd equate it almost to the Kamiya Family trilogy by Sakamoto, how those plays were different generations somewhat, but that's kind of his masterwork, that trilogy. Yeah. And I don't know that she's going to make a trilogy out of this, but these 2 together are just 2 of the best things she's created. We're really fortunate to be alive.
You tell her you got 2 of them out already. You might as well, just make the 3rd one. I'm just saying.
I've never gotten to work on a show that was a prequel to something before, and as soon as Lorena wrote and said, I'm doing Flowers of Hawaii too, I was like, oh yeah, let's do this.
And so the biggest connection between the 2 shows has really been with our costume designers. And the kind of amusing thing there is that my designer, Bella Dixon, she's the MFA student, and her faculty supervisor, our costume design professor, Miley Speechens, is our Kevin's costume designer. So they're working very closely together anyway, and so they've been in consultation about those shared characters and just shared style of the different characters. So that's the kind of Easter egg thing for the audience as you come to see both of our shows, is
so incredibly cool.
Try to look for those connections.
I love. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just
go ahead. Go ahead.
I love that Aloha Attire is running right now, running the next 3 weeks. So you can see Aloha Attire for free. All the tickets for Aloha Attire are free. You just need to reserve one. And then see Flowers of Hawaii and get like a real like sweeping story about this family. I just think that's great. How often does that happen? I love it.
Right.
I love it.
I know, exactly. Well, you know, since she's not here, she can't hear us. Or at least I don't think she can hear us. Can you each do me a favor and say something really nice about her? And like tell me what makes her such an incredible writer, because I have my own ideas and I'm sure other people do. But just for you, if you've got just a couple
I'm ready.
cool things you want to talk about, yeah, please. Lorena, go.
I mean, because I love the play already, and then working like moment by moment, page by page, my respect for what she's doing and her talent is growing by the moment. And it all comes down to me, like in the macro level, to rhythm. She is incredible with repetition and rhythm and build in any given page, every given scene. I've been starting to make color charts of it, which I've shown her, you know, just to show her, like, this is what you're doing. This is stunning. So that's my compliment. Don't tell her.
Okay. And, keep it quiet. We won't say anything.
And mine is I think that she's gifted at finding like a single line that can give you like a whole history of a character. And you know, you read that one line and you go, oh yeah, I know what this person is all about. And it gives the actors so much to work with. There's so much meat in her plays. And I think some of that comes from her background in journalism. She's really good at getting to the heart of what she's trying to communicate. She's remarkable.
I have an example really quick of a great line.
Yeah, please.
Someone proposing to someone, you can stay at my house. My mom won't mind. It's the world.
That's cool. Well, those lines and many more awesome lines, make sure you go and check out their shows. So give everybody an idea of how they can watch these. I know Kumu, they can sign up for free and all that stuff. With regards to the University of Hawaii shows, how do they do that?
Yeah, so it's very affordable. We do need some cash. But very, very affordable tickets. And so that would be to go to the UH Manoa Department of Theater and Dance website, and then I don't really actually have the
it's okay. It's okay. They can look it up at University of Hawaii.
But Kennedy Theater. Put in Kennedy Theater, Flowers of Hawaii. We'll get each of those tickets.
Okay, awesome. And of course, they just go to the Kumukuhua website and they can look it up that way, right?
kumukuhua.org, and there'll be a purchase tickets link. But you're not purchasing, you're getting it for free.
You're getting it for free. Don't worry. Just go check it out. Support the arts. And you know, as someone who's worked in a trilogy, working on the Kamiya trilogy when I was younger, it was just one final question. If this were to become a trilogy, do you see it being like the Kamiya one, where it's one person playing the same role? Because I was the same role, the same role in Taste of Kona Coffee in Manoa Valley, and then I was the grandson in Life of the Land. Could you see something like that happening, where you have one character that because they're all kind of the same?
Yeah, we could have done it that way, but you know, we're casting students, community theater. It didn't happen. And in fact, I have, I think, something like a 21-year-old playing our 80-year-old grandmother in fantastic age makeup, I must say. You know, so it's a different circumstance, but I think it could be done in that way, absolutely, in rep.
Yeah, and there's definitely a through line with the characters. The three characters that move from one play to another, there's tremendous consistency, and you can see the direction their lives are going in Aloha Attire and see where they ended up in Flowers of Hawaii. It's very, very well done.
I'm so excited to see this. It's going to be awesome. And let's put in that call to Lee to say, okay, it's really good. It's a third play. Because apparently if the two of you talk to her, she just says, oh, you need a different play. Okay, I'll write it. And she just goes and writes it, right? That's how that works, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. The power of Lorena and our Kevin. Thank you so much, the both of you, for spending this time with us. We really, really appreciate it. This time, I'd like to bring back Mr. Kip.
Hey, that was great, guy. Fantastic.
I wish I had more time with them because they have a
Right?
wealth of knowledge. We've only scratched the surface here.
You need like a second hour. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
But,
for sure.
Hey, listen, if she writes the third one, we'll do it.
There you go.
Okay? There you go. Oh, and
See?
Lorena,
Perfect.
I have a little something for you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm impressed. We'll have to talk. Have some time to talk. Yeah.
All righty.
Yeah, thank you guys for being with us, and it was just so interesting and informative, and I hope you'll come back.
Yeah, and donate to Manoa Valley as well.
Yes,
Absolutely. Go register for the gala, and when you're there, remember it doesn't cost you anything, so you have money to donate.
There you go. See, they thought of everything. They thought of everything. Lorena, or Kevin, thank you so much for being with us. Kip, thank you very much, sir. Also say hello to Kristen and Braddock and Andrew, working all the stuff to make it all look good.
Hey, yeah, kudos to Andrew, man. He's rocking it. He's our engineer, and he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And thank goodness I didn't have to be like Dylan and do the thing, because this would be a whole different show. A whole different show. But have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us and helping us celebrate Manoa Valley Theater Live and the University of Hawaii Theater Program, and also Kumu Kahua, and also Miss Lee Cataluna. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. See ya.